1981. A man is arrested in Pasadena, California, mistaken for a bank robber. Unshaven, paranoid, no identification. 9 years earlier, this same man was the most famous chess player alive, an American Cold War hero. His name is Bobby Fischer. And whatever broke his mind forever, it was not a rival or an enemy. It may have been the game itself. Bobby Fischer's story begins in a cramped Brooklyn apartment above a candy store, where the silence pressed in from all sides. His father was gone before he could form a memory, his name missing from every census and school record. Regina Fischer, a Swiss immigrant, worked odd jobs to keep the lights on, her presence fading as Bobby grew older. By the time he turned 16, she too had vanished from his daily life, leaving him alone with a battered chessboard and the echo of her absence in every room. School files list only his mother as guardian, but after 1959, even that line goes blank. Attendance slips and disciplinary notes pile up, each one naming Bobby as the sole contact. The city around him moved on, but for Fischer, the world narrowed to 64 squares. At 7, he sent a postcard to the Brooklyn Eagle asking for someone, anyone, to play chess with him. It was a plea for connection, signed by Regina, but it would be the last time she would intervene so directly. Without a father, without a mother, chess became the only structure that held him together. The Manhattan Chess Club and the Brooklyn Chess Club took him in, but it was Jack Collins, a quiet mentor with polio, who gave him the closest thing to a family. Jack Collins's apartment became Bobby's refuge, a place where the outside world's noise faded and only the logic of the game remained. Letters from those years show Fischer's growing dependence. When I'm not at the board, I'm counting moves in my head. The world outside is noise. His rise was relentless. At 14, he became the youngest United States chess champion. The records from the United States Chess Federation stamped with his name and age, 14 years, 9 months. By 15, he was the youngest Grandmaster ever, a title that made headlines but did nothing to fill the emptiness at home. The 1964 United States Championship cross table tells the rest. Fischer, 11 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Nobody else has ever done it. The score sheet sits in the United States Chess Federation archive, a monument to perfection achieved in utter solitude. For Bobby, chess wasn't a game. It was the only language he understood, the only world that made sense. Every move, every victory, was a momentary escape from the void left by parents who had disappeared long before he became a legend. The stakes were always absolute. To lose at chess was to lose the only identity he had left. And as he ascended to the summit of American chess, the structure that kept him whole grew impossibly fragile, built on foundations that could never last. Reykjavik, July 1972. The world's eyes fixed on a quiet hall in Iceland, where Bobby Fischer faced Boris Spassky for the World Championship. This was no ordinary chess match. On one side, the reigning Soviet master, calm, precise, the pride of Moscow. On the other, the American challenger, a solitary figure whose demands grew stranger with every passing day. Fischer arrived late, missing the opening ceremony, then refused to play Game 2 unless the television cameras were removed and the lights dimmed. When organizers hesitated, he stayed in his hotel room, forfeiting the game without moving a single piece. The score stood at 1-1, but the real battle was happening off the board. Icelandic officials scrambled to meet his conditions. Chairs were x-rayed for hidden transmitters. Cameras were shoved into corners. Spassky, dignified and patient, agreed to nearly every request, even as Soviet officials bristled. The match logs record these negotiations in cold, bureaucratic language, but the tension in the hall was electric. Newspapers on both sides of the Iron Curtain called it a Cold War duel, a fight for national honor. But for Fischer, the stakes were even higher. Chess was not just a game, it was his only anchor. When play resumed, Fischer's performance was relentless. He dismantled Spassky's defenses in game after game, sometimes with moves so audacious that even the Soviet analysts fell silent. The cross table from that summer is stark. Fischer 12.5, Spassky 8.5. The final handshake was brief, almost reluctant. On July 13th, New York City declared Bobby Fischer Day. The mayor's proclamation, now yellowed with age, called him a hero for a generation. Endorsement offers flooded in: Pepsi, General Motors, a luxury watchmaker. The total exceeded $5 million, a fortune for a chess player in 1972. Fischer declined them all, refusing to let anyone else profit from the game that had become his life. He appeared on The Tonight Show, his face on the cover of Sports Illustrated, but the spotlight seemed to burn rather than illuminate. But here is what nobody talks about. Winning did not save him. It accelerated the collapse. The applause faded. Invitations to tournaments went unanswered. For 3 years, Fischer vanished from the chess world, leaving only silence where his name once filled headlines. He declined every challenge, ignored every plea. The man who had conquered the Soviets disappeared into a void of his own making, and the world was left to wonder, what had victory cost him? April 1975. The World Chess Federation issued a single-page decision. Bobby Fischer was no longer world champion. The title he had fought for since childhood, stripped in a letter, not in battle. There was no match, no final board, only silence. Fischer's demands for a neutral venue, for unlimited rest days, for a match free of cameras and outside interference were dismissed as impossible. Anatoly Karpov became champion by default. For Fischer, it was as if the last piece holding his world together had been swept from the board. Clinicians who studied his later life point to this moment as the fracture. Dr. Reuben Fine, both chess master and psychoanalyst, described Fischer's identity as fused entirely with the game. Without chess, there was nothing to contain the storm inside him. In the months after the title was taken, Fischer's world narrowed to a handful of trusted voices and a growing list of enemies, real and imagined. One incident stands out in the medical files. Fischer ordered all his dental fillings removed, convinced that Soviet agents were using them to transmit signals into his mind. The Los Angeles Times reported the lawsuit in 1976, quoting Fischer's claim that the fillings were a security risk. His dentist, bewildered, complied. The fillings came out, but the voices did not stop. Neighbors in Los Angeles recalled seeing him pacing the block at night, muttering about surveillance and betrayal. Former friends received rambling letters, dense with accusations. The line between strategy and delusion blurred, then vanished. The man who once saw 30 moves ahead now saw only threats in every shadow. The loss of the title was not just a career setback. It was the collapse of the only structure that had ever kept him whole. Chess had been the scaffolding for his identity, and without it, the cracks widened, and the fall began. November 16, 1981. Bobby Fischer, once a national hero, is arrested at Los Angeles International Airport for carrying a false passport. Title 18, Section 1546. His hands, famous for their precision, now tremble as officers process him. The LAPD log records disorderly conduct and illegal entry. A bruise darkens his cheek, the origin unspoken. The courts move without sentiment. United States versus Robert J. Fischer. Bail denied. Fischer rails against unseen conspiracies, his paranoia no longer dismissed as oddity, but documented in court filings. The chess world offers no defense. He is alone. 10 years pass. September 1992. Yugoslavia collapses under war and sanctions. The United Nations, through Resolution 757, forbids Americans from business there. Fischer ignores the warning from the United States Treasury, plays Spassky, and face indictment. On live television, he spits on the letter. The rematch proceeds. Fischer wins, pockets over $3 million, and crosses a line no champion had before. The United States issues a federal warrant charging him with willful violation of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Fischer vanishes into exile, Hungary, the Philippines, always just ahead of extradition. Each border crossed is another step away from the world that once celebrated him. The law, once distant, now dictates every move. In anonymous hotel rooms, Fischer's mind loops through betrayals and imagined enemies. The structure of chess is gone, replaced by the relentless pressure of pursuit. His collapse is public, but his exile is silent, a slow erasure, leaving only the echo of a legend. When the game ends, what remains if the board is all you have? Today, chess still creates legends and casualties. Was brilliance his gift or his undoing? The question echoes, unanswered. Did chess make him great or destroy the only thing keeping him whole? Subscribe to ChessFlix. Stories beyond the moves.